Hello Divas, so welcome back to my channel. You know from Monday that our topic is all about transitions. So we're going to talk about some lifestyle transitions that we have within our household, tips that I use, and hopefully it's helpful to you. So let's get right into it. Like I said yesterday, it's really with transitions, it's being thoughtful, thinking about what is taking place or what is about to take place, and then being watchful over that. That is just a way that you can prepare for transitions, because I notice sometimes, like, if you don't think about it, then you may be thinking about it a little bit internally but not preparing. And when it comes to a household or a family, like, you have to be able to express those, because chances are if you don't express your expectations during a transition, then those expectations will never get met. So we really try to be open, and we have family meetings, and those are things that we talk about. What's going on? Some things, what is about to go on? What do we need to prepare for? So one of the biggest things in our household and 2 weeks ago was the kids going back to school. So we had to prepare for that. And you know, the schools will do certain things and have open houses and meet the teachers, and you know, you're getting the clothes and the supplies. But in our family, we also talk about what other things are going to take place. What are the expectations? For us, sometimes we know that during the summer, we're a little bit more lax with the time that the children have to go to school, because Jaden is in camp, but usually Jaden is with me. Or she'll go to Alabama. Some years, here lately she hasn't, but she'll go to Alabama like with her grandma for a little bit. So their sleep schedule is a lot more lax, and it's not as big of a demand on that. But we know closer to the time that they're going to school, like, we need to start not wait till right before school. So what we'll do is, like, at least about sometimes 3 weeks, we'll start like having them prepare by doing the bedtime that they would do when they're going to school. So we'll talk about those things and talk about what those transitions. We really try to give buffers for my son. As we talked about before, Jaden, he has autism, so sometimes it's a visual. So we know we'll start pulling out. He has like a summer backpack that he uses because at their camp they go to the pool every day, and we don't want to ruin his school backpack. So his back to school backpack, we'll start pulling that out, letting him see that and helping him in that transition. Just really planning. It's for us, I don't know if I've talked about before, I think I have, but we have a blended family. So when me and my husband got married, I had 2 children. So we had instant family, or I think they call it like a blended family. So, and blending together, those are things that we kind of recognize. Like, it was good for us to sit and talk about it, because we have an 11-year-old daughter, Jada, you know, a 15-year-old son, my husband, and me, and we all have different expectations or different thoughts about how a transition will go. So sitting down, thinking about it, and then watching over what we thought about, that's really helped us in our transitions. Another thing that I would say about transition is be patient. Be patient with those people. Although sometimes it may be a personal transition. I talked a little bit about that yesterday in my spiritual video about transitions, but that you need to be patient with those around you. Even if you're the only one that's going through the transition, be patient with those around you, because even in the planning stage, you know the things that you know, but there's sometimes variables that you have no clue about. And it's no way to possibly plan for that. So one of the things that I talked about before was my daughter went from elementary to middle school, so we could plan and foresee, like, okay, her bus is gonna come a little bit later than usual. So those are things that we could plan for. But the things that we may not have been prepared for is, you know, now she's going from like one class and going to some electives to like 7 or 8 classes a day. So there are gonna be things that may come up that we didn't initially plan. So you have to be patient and then also be able to pivot to growing out that plan. Like today, it's raining, so if you end up hearing sound or whatever, I tried to video really quick while it's not raining, but that may take place. I waited because my son's bus had been coming like 20-30 minutes late, like every day. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna wait, especially because we were gonna take the car to the back because it was raining. I'm gonna wait right till the bus comes and I'm gonna drive back there, because we're just sitting in the car 20-30 minutes at a time in the morning. So I pull up right on time. The bus is driving off. So it was like, what? I've been waiting for y'all 20 to 30 minutes every morning, and like you leave out right on time. Like, so I had to like follow the bus to the next stop and get him on the bus. So, but it's like one of those things, being patient with them, because I know like it's a new change. There may be new students on the bus, so why they're late, there's new routes. So being patient with other people during those transition times, because you don't want to come out of yourself or out of your character for a time that it's sometimes just variables that people can't control. So those are things that we learn. Another thing is being patient with yourself. Like sometimes you kind of know in your interactions with other people, like, hey, like, let me just be patient, you know. But being patient is also giving yourself time. So for me, part of the reason why I didn't do uploads the last 2 weeks was because when I know that our family is going through a transition, there are priorities made. So I don't overbook, because I never know what could happen or what could come up. Like, it's very important during that time. I don't know how long the bus was gonna take in the morning, or sometimes it takes me a little bit to edit and upload, and I'm like, that's a very critical time with the kids going back to school to find out, like, how is the day going, what do we need to pivot in, how do we need to change. So I really had to like take that time. So in a transition time, don't overbook yourself, don't overexhaust yourself, because you're going through or to another place in some aspects, and you've not been there, so you don't want to go to a new place exhausted or tired or anything like that. So you really want to focus in on that transition till you're able to get more consistent in it, and then like move from there. So it is totally okay to give yourself time. Another thing that we learn is it's totally okay to like we just like, one of the things I just say, like, family huddle. Like, when we blended as a family, although my husband was my best friend, we were best friends for years before we even dated, and then even going through the courtship and him learning further more about our children, we knew, like, we chose not to like live together until after we got married. But we knew during that time, even though we talked and planned a lot of stuff, it was like an establishing time. So not only did we give ourselves time to help establish and solidify those things, but we also kind of just focused in a family huddle. So I'm all for, and I will always support having a support system, and we definitely have that. But when we were establishing and going through that transition, we didn't need a lot of opinions. We didn't need a lot of advice, because everybody has their own way of how they want to flow. And in their household. So it was like really good for us to talk it out with one another and not just like go to other people, because, you know, Sai's parents, family, their parents raised their family in a certain way. My parents raised us in a certain way. So the households look different. So we really had to take time to be like, okay, God, what are you doing with our family? And then from that, like the things that we need to do in our family. So giving yourself that time, like not overbooking yourself with things, not over complicating things by allowing too many people to give opinions during that time of transition. Another thing is celebrate the transitions. Celebrate the transitions. If you are in a transition, that means that you ended something and you're going through to start something. So like when you end something, like celebrate it. And it doesn't have to mean you have to have a full-on gala party, but like take a moment, you know, like for us it may be like, okay, it's the end of our summer season and kids are going back to school. It could be just a simple picnic. It can be a picnic in a park or even in our living room, to have that moment. It was like, wow, we made it through this summer, guys. We're about to go to this new place. So kind of having those moments. And I know, I don't know if I talked about it Monday in the spiritual thing, but biblically, I'm just thinking of that. Every time like God took them to a new place, they would have a moment. They may put a stone up or something. Like you are kind of marking that transition. You're marking that time where you went from one thing to another. So it's totally okay to like celebrate that. And when you're going in that transition, like I said, it's been 2 weeks now that the kids have went back to school. So, you know, the first week, you know, sometimes they're excited. So some days they wake up and they're ready, and then some days they're just tired, you know. So I'm like having to coach them through like, hey, brush your teeth and okay, get something to eat. But being able to have those moments when I notice like, okay, we're in a really good place. We really know the time that you need to wake up in the morning at this point, and you're doing really good. Like having those moments, like, you know, cheering your children on or whatever it is. If you're going through a transition in your weight or something, being like, wow, 5 pounds, like celebrate that. Don't go and probably eat cake to celebrate that, but like have a moment to be like, wow, like I went from this place to that. Like, and actually having that, I think that just, you know, something that we do, and it really helps you to stay the course. Like, wow, you went from here to here. Okay, now at this point now we're working on consistency, you know. So that's just something that we do in our household. Other things that I could talk about that we do as far as food and transitions, usually in the fall, in the winter, I really go in on my crock pot recipes. Like it's starting to cool down, at least by Texas standards. Cool down, it's not really cold, but it's cooling down, so I go into those crock pot recipes. It's really good because the kids are in school. It's able to cook all day. I do usually one crock pot recipe a week, and it goes in the refrigerator, and we are able to, like, instead of doing fast food and all the other stuff, no, even if I'm cooking throughout the week, that meal is kind of like always in the refrigerator that they can, like, we can, you know, gleam off of, eat off of really quick. So those are like those heavier stews and roasts and chilies, and let me stop because my mouth is watering. I haven't ate yet. So I'll probably be eating while I'm editing this video. See, I'm good. Transitions. But so that's what I do. And usually in the hotter months, we just found that our family in general is more thirsty than hungry. So I go in for lighter meals. So we'll do like sandwiches and salads in all different forms and shapes and sizes. And then we definitely have a lot more fresh, well, there's fresh vegetables all year round and fresh fruit, but for the fruits that we like, they're kind of like really good in the spring and summer. Like, our husband loves strawberries, so we kind of go a little bit like heavier in that. Another thing that we think about in transitions is like my husband sometimes like me to make him like smoothies in the morning, but sometimes like during the summer we don't do smoothies as much early in the morning before he goes to work, because he has to get up earlier once the kids go back to school. That way I'm back here to get them off to school. So you know, during that time we come up with different meals, because you know, we don't want you don't want to be that neighbor that is running a blender at 4 a.m. in the morning. Don't be that neighbor. Are you that neighbor? Okay. But that's what we do for food. Decor, at least seasonally, like, or quarterly, we'll move kind of the furniture around, because you can clean and you move, or we'll tell the kids to like move the couch. Then you find all kinds of stuff. So we, usually I'll just kind of get like a little itch and be like, oh, I just want to move some stuff around. And because we're budgeting, because we want a house, I don't really go and buy stuff. I just kind of move, sometimes just shifting the furniture in a different angle, moving the TV stand. For us, maybe probably pictures. We don't really decorate with a lot of like, I forgot what you call that, like little tchotchkes and stuff. We don't do a lot of that, so we do a lot of pictures. So we may be like, oh, we need to go and take a family picture, and then from that kind of update the pictures and stuff like that. But for decor, we just kind of like move stuff around and clean up in that aspect. So those are some of the things that we do in our household and connected to our lifestyle. Now, y'all know on Friday I'm going to be helping you transition your wardrobe. I'll specifically probably be talking about transitioning that summer wardrobe to your fall wardrobe. So if you are interested in that, then come back to my channel Friday. Again, like always, like, share, subscribe. We're still trying to get to that 100 viewers, 100 subscribers, so I can get that custom URL. So please help me as I'm transitioning with my YouTube. As always, I love you, God loves you, and have a blessed day, divas. Bye.